For more videos on people's struggles, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
August 5, 2019 was perhaps the most crucial day for Jammu and Kashmir in recent times. The entire state was kept in the dark as its fate was decided by members of the Indian right-wing government led by the Bharatiya Janata Party and its leaders Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. All communication links were shut down, strict curfews were imposed, and all political leaders of the state were put under house arrest, while the citizens were under a virtual arrest. Kashmir is already the most militarized region in the world, with 500,000 troops stationed at all times. As this curfew was being imposed in anticipation of the announcement of a big decision, an additional 35,000 troops were posted in the region to further restrict movement of the people. After imposing a shutdown and military siege, the BJP government unilaterally decided to remove the special status that was guaranteed to the state of J&K in the Indian constitution and take away its autonomy. No Kashmiri citizen or leader was consulted in this decision. In fact, with cable TV services, internet and calling services shut down, most of them did not even know what has happened until much later. The move was of shocking nature, as rather than engaging in political dialogue with the stakeholders in Kashmir who had been demanding independence from the Indian state, the far-right government decided to use its military might. It was also decided to bifurcate the state of J&K into two union territories. This is something unprecedented in India. Never before has a state's statehood been taken away. A union territory is ruled directly by the central government, making the local needs and people's will often secondary. But why was all of this done? What did the special status mean, and was it unique to the state of J&K in India? And why has the current BJP government been so keen on revoking this? To answer these questions, let's look at Kashmir's history and how it came to be a part of India. In August 1947, when the British rule ended and partition took place dividing the countries of India and Pakistan, all princely states and regions falling under these territories were given three options: either to go with Pakistan, or to go with India, or remain independent. Most of the Muslim majority areas went with Pakistan. However, Kashmir, under the then ruler Hari Singh, had decided to remain independent in order to preserve the ethnic Kashmiri identity and culture. But 2 months later, in October, Kashmir was attacked by armed raiders, which the state's forces could not defeat on their own. So Maharaja Hari Singh sent a letter to India asking for help, along with the signed instrument of accession. But in this instrument, the conditions were made clear that only foreign affairs, defense, and communications would fall under the purview of the Indian government. Rest all matters relating to internal administration would be managed by Kashmir's own systems of governance through its own constitution. So, when the Indian constitution was being framed, an article was added which defined Jammu and Kashmir's relation with India, Article 370. The Indian Constituent Assembly explained the need of this article when the constitution was being deliberated by saying that the government of India has committed themselves to the position that an opportunity would be given to the people of the state to decide for themselves whether they will remain with the republic or wish to go out of it. Further, members of the assembly said, "We are also committed to ascertaining this will of the people by means of a plebiscite, provided that peaceful and normal conditions are restored and the impartiality of the plebiscite could be guaranteed. We have also agreed that the will of the people through the instrument of Constituent Assembly will determine the constitution of the state as well as the sphere of union jurisdiction over the state." So Article 370 stated that apart from the matters specified in the instrument of accession, the Indian government can only extend Indian laws to Jammu and Kashmir if called for by the Indian President in concurrence with the state's government. And to define the state's role in administering internal affairs, Article 35A was later on added to the Indian Constitution, which draws its validity from Article 370. Article 35A empowers the J&K legislature to define the state's permanent residents and their special rights and privileges. These include right to own property, getting government jobs, receiving scholarships, and other welfare benefits. Even the matter of removing this article of the Constitution can only be decided by the President in concurrence with the state's Constituent Assembly. Since the Constituent Assembly was dissolved in 1957, there have been debates about how Article 370 can now be removed. Some legal scholars have stated that instead of the Constituent Assembly, the state's assembly's views have to be taken into consideration for this to happen. But even the state assembly was dissolved last year after the coalition government fell apart. What the Narendra Modi government has done instead is to take the go-ahead of the state's governor instead of the state assembly. But the governor is just the representative of the centre. So has the central government, in effect, taken its own permission to pass this decision of revoking Kashmir's special status? All of this has cast a huge shadow over the constitutional validity of this move. But why was only Section 370 targeted? Are these kind of special provisions unique to the state of J&K and, as said by many, discriminatory towards the rest of the country? No, they're not. There are various other regions and even states in India that have been granted a special status and given such kind of rights in order to preserve the local culture and ethnic identities. There are also multiple places in the country where outsiders to the region cannot purchase land. This is also a means of protecting the local identities and people such as tribal groups who may lose their lands otherwise. So why has the BJP government only targeted Article 370 and Kashmir's special status? The BJP and its ideological parent RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, have always had the abrogation of Article 370 in their manifestos. And this is largely due to the fact that J&K is the only state with a Muslim majority. Changing the demography of the Kashmir Valley and Hinduizing it is just one more step towards the RSS project of creating a Hindu Rashtra or Hindu country. Moreover, communalizing the issue of Kashmir has also served the RSS BJP well electorally. Now with the Article 35A removed and Article 370 completely hollowed out, there are no longer restrictions on land purchases in the valley or unregulated exploitation of natural resources, as is common in many parts of the country. Furthermore, J&K is not even a state anymore. It has been bifurcated into two union territories, Ladakh region being one, which will not have its own legislature, and the J&K region being the other, which will have a legislature. Being a union territory means that the centre government, led by BJP, will now have the final say over all matters of the region, even those matters which are otherwise managed by state authorities. This includes the state police and security. In a region which has been under military occupation for the past 3 decades, this will only make matters worse. So not only have the Kashmiri people suffered from decades of human rights violations and abuses, now a crucial decision regarding their future has been taken through a process which does not even seem constitutionally valid, without any of the affected persons being consulted. Even now, the region is under curfew, with communications shut down and heavy military deployment. Kashmiris living in other parts of the country have no clue about their families and their well-being, as they have not been able to establish any contact. There has been at least one confirmed death of a man who was protesting against this decision. There may be many more, but local journalists are also not being allowed to report. There is no indication as to when the curfew will be lifted and the region will come out of the dark. But strong resistance to this decision is expected from Kashmiris whenever it does. What the government has done is a blow to the Indian democratic setup and civil liberties of the people. This unknown poem circulating in social media sums up the situation. Roses are red, democracy is dead. Violets are blue, Kashmir is under curfew. What's happening here today will soon happen to you.
Marchando junto a mí y así